Okay everybody, welcome to Next Level Consciousness Planet Update. And this is an installment, a regular installment that we're going to be having now every week, where we're going to be looking at psycho-cosmic cycles, at the cycles of celestial bodies and how they stand in a correlation with events and unfolding energies on the planet and how they impact our world and our individual realities. So because this is the first installment, I'm going to say a little bit first about some of the big energies that shape our summer, that give the framework for our summer. And I'm going to be coming back a lot over the summer and as time progresses to talk more about these bigger energies that give us the big picture. And if you haven't looked into these topics yet, and if you want to find out more about it, I recommend you look at a book called Cosmos and Psyche from Richard Tarnas, which will blow your mind if you first get into it, because it really shows how all the events in history, all the unfolding of historical events from cultural and political and social events are standing in a real correlation with the celestial cycles, which is a knowledge that's very old and that's very established in the ancient traditions, but has gotten a little bit lost in the more modern time, but is now coming back with full force. So we're looking specifically this summer at two trends and at two cycles, at two aspects of celestial bodies, which give us a very open and idealistic and evolutionary summer. And the first one of those is the Jupiter-Neptune trine out of water signs, which stands for idealistic and compassionate ideas, the ideas that are driven by visions for compassion and humanitarian impetus. And we have that trine continuing all the way till September, while simultaneously we have a Saturn-Uranus trine. You know, if you have looked into this field a bit, that Uranus has just entered into Taurus, where it's going to be challenging our ideas of how we think about material exchange, how we think about money, how we think about the material allocation of goods on the planet. And that energy stands in a trine, in a harmonious relation with Saturn right now. We're Saturn from Capricorn. So we have there something where these new ideas for how to organize our material reality can be realized in a smooth way, in a way that's going to not be without any kind of struggles, but those struggles and those innovative ideas and outbursts, they have actually a very fertile ground and a good ground over these next couple of months, over these next few months, to be realized and to get a lot of support, a lot of cosmic support. So what we can expect is that the more innovative and visionary, evolutionary and progressive ideas about how to organize the planet, how to organize especially our economic systems as well as our technology, are going to be strengthened, are going to get a lot of support. So we're going to see much more ecological innovation. We're going to be seeing much more support and backing for cryptocurrencies, which are reinventing the way how we treat money and how we exchange money on the planet. Over the next couple of months, over the summer, we're going to be seeing a big boost in everything to do with adoption and using and also understanding much better cryptocurrencies, as well as such things as technological innovations, where I'm talking about electric cars or electric trucks, electric kind of transportation, which is much more environmentally friendly, which is going to see a big uptake over the next few months. Now, there's also the idealistic tendencies that we're going to be seeing strengthened in the positive way. That could be humanitarian movements, negatively also potentially idealistic movements that are utopian in the bad sense, perhaps more nationalist or ethnocentric movements, as they're currently gaining momentum. Over these next few months, we're going to be seeing a lot of these things in the news and taking up a lot. So now, with this backdrop being established for the summer, we have also a few very dynamic weeks coming ahead, with regards to more like on the ground, more micro level interactions and energies that are happening. We have specifically this week, which started with the July 22nd entry of Sun into Leo. We have right away here first, okay, what does it mean? Sun comes into Leo. It's like the return of the king to his own court. Sun is entering into Leo. The energy of creative consciousness is entering into a field where it's all about the expression, all about the being seen, all about the fixed kind of energy of power of being seen, of the creative ideas and expressions of the sun. So wherever that falls into your personal chart, if you know your personal chart where your Leo falls in that area of life, you're going to have now coming up a time of expressing your true ideas and your true identity, and being very frank and open and honest and about it, and being very much able to share and be seen with what you stand for in that area of life. But as Sun enters into Leo, you have right away this week coming up this really dynamic aspect where Sun is entering into a T-square, into a triangular, dynamic and tense relationship with Mars and Uranus. So Mars is retrograde right now, and it's starting to square Uranus, which means that we have the energy of drive, assertion, force, being in a tense relationship with innovation and with sudden changes, with sudden ruptures. And in that quagmire, in that kind of aggressive, young energy, dynamic, assertive quagmire, the sun is kind of just entering. The king who has just returned to his court is being attacked from all sides, if you will. If you want to imagine it in a symbolic or archetypal way for yourself. So this coming week, we have that very dynamic triangular relationship, the T-square, where we're going to see the expression of ideas, of authentic identities being faced from different sides, with competition and with tensions and with all kinds of challenges, with sudden challenges. So what does that mean, first for yourself, and then second for the world? For yourself, when you're looking, depending on where this entire constellation falls into your chart, this can be something that's very personal, that happens in your own life and you're a protagonist, or it could be something that you're simply witnessing and being a part of without being totally involved in yourself. That depends always on your own chart. But regardless, what we have to understand and what we should be very clear of when we experience these kind of breakthroughs and these kind of challenges and these very assertive kind of challenges of dominance and of ideas this coming week, is that we want to make the best possible use of these energies. As always, we want to understand the energies so we can use them for our own personal development, for our own elevating ourselves and our others in our life, and reaching higher levels of consciousness and more integration and more alignment. So basically, if we are understanding it this way, then this dynamic constellation of the coming week, it should serve us or others in our life to be able to have breakthroughs, creative breakthroughs in terms of ideas, innovative breakthroughs, specifically also maybe to do with some of these ideas I mentioned in the beginning. If that's a field that you're in, then you can count this week on certain breakthroughs coming. If you're in cryptocurrencies or in any kind of innovative field that you're working, you can count on some breakthroughs happening. But regardless of which field it is that you're in, these creative or assertive breakthroughs, innovative breakthroughs that happen this week, you have to be careful that you don't fall into battles and into competitive sudden outbursts of anger, which is also signatures that we can see with these constellations that are standing there right now. So if you have an occasion where you want to burst on a scene and you want to just kind of break things and you feel like you need to assert yourself, then follow something that is well understood in the spiritual traditions, is to go back and reflect and meditate before you make that action, and try to understand whether that action, that harsh or decisive action that you want to do, whether that comes from a place of pent-up anger and reaction and reactiveness, where you're just kind of forcefully reacting and breaking things because that's your initial reaction, or whether it comes from a place of actual breakthrough where you're really there to help something come to a breakthrough that's been waiting to express itself and that needs to express itself. If it's the first case, then go and meditate on it and let it sink, let it fall into its own place, make it conscious, make it aware, and free yourself from it, overstand it and integrate it. And you don't need to give in to that impetus in that case. But if it's something that you know that, okay, now is my time and I need to step up and I need to make these moves right now, then this is your week. Then this is your week to make those moves in alignment and in accordance with your actual purpose, your real purpose, because it's a time for these breakthroughs now this week. And now at the end of the week on July 27th, we have a lunar eclipse, a powerful lunar eclipse, the longest lunar eclipse actually of the 21st century so far, which exactly falls onto that triangular dynamic relation as well, as if it wasn't enough already. So we have the lunar eclipse coming as well and falling on it. The lunar eclipse, what does it stand for? It stands for something being eclipsed, something being put into the past, something from the past, some karmic pattern of the past being eclipsed and being kind of pushed away and pushed aside through an intervention of the cycles. And if we understand this energy well, then we can actually this week overcome maybe some of the patterns that we have where we are reactive and aggressive and we just try to break things out of some reactions that we have, and instead retune ourselves and especially our way of getting things and innovating things to be more peaceful and more harmonious and more in line with our actual authentic development. So if we don't do that, and obviously this speaks for everybody on the planet, and there's a lot of people on the planet, so there's going to be all the different types of ways that we can realize this energy in different perspectives in different people's lives. So if we don't do that, and if we are actually very assertive in a way that we're trying to break things, then the karmic reckoning will come, because the lunar eclipse falls exactly onto that same constellation, and then in the months to come you would be basically creating karma for yourself that's not conducive to your growth. You would be creating negative karma to do with aggression and so on and so forth. So basically avoid that and make it clear to yourself, why are you acting this week? Is it in line with your higher self? Are you even able to retune and reprogram some of the ways that you're being assertive and getting things done in the world so that they're more harmonious, they're more harmoniously flowing with your own energy? So that's the lesson for this week. That's what we should be paying attention to. Now on the world scale, this is also going to have a couple of ramifications and implications, because we have this dynamic triangle, the T-square falling exactly on the Rahu-Ketu axis, the destiny axis of the United States of America chart. So we're going to be seeing some let's say maybe radical and quick and aggressive actions inside the United States of America, maybe with Trump pursuing his attack on his own intelligence agencies much more forcefully again, possibly with utterances of threats again to foreign powers, to other powers. Another country, another place where I'm seeing a big impact is India. India has in its chart the Sun-Moon square, which is exactly being triggered by the lunar eclipse and as well by this triangular constellation. And it means that maybe the current feeling that a lot of people in India have, where they're being not happy with the government, or where certain type of resistances or rejection of the government is brewing up this week, it can have certain events that will be karmic, that in the months to follow will have big consequences. We're going to be looking at a lot of this stuff again in detail, both on the world level and in your personal level, in the upcoming episodes. And every week there will be an episode for Planet Update. So stay tuned, subscribe, and big up yourself.